Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you've been anywhere near the tech space lately, you've undoubtedly felt the absolute avalanche of AI buzzwords coming at you. I mean, every single software update, every press release, every new startup, they all claim to have an agent now. It's literally everywhere. Well, today we're going to cut right through all that noise. I promise you a totally clear, jargon-free translation of what's actually happening in the world of AI right now. Because let's be real. Just look at these repetitive, highly technical terms. Agentic workflows, RAG, React, agents, agentic capabilities. It is incredibly overwhelming. Even for those of us tracking this industry every single day, separating the marketing hype from actual utility is a massive chore. At the end of the day, we just want to know how this tech changes our actual workflows, how it impacts our businesses, and how it shapes the tools we rely on. So that brings us to the core question we're tackling today. What exactly is an AI agent? To demystify this whole thing, we're going to follow a simple, step-by-step learning path. We'll build on concepts you likely already understand and use real-world examples to show you the exact evolution of this tech. By the end, you're going to be able to easily spot the difference between a true autonomous agent and just, well, a glorified chatbot in the wild. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start at level 1 with basic large language models. Move right into level 2 with AI workflows. Hit level 3 for true AI agents. And finally, we'll put the whole shebang together into one clear blueprint. All right, let's dive into level 1 and establish our baseline, basic LLMs. So at their core, large language models, the foundation for popular tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, are fantastic at generating and editing text based on a very simple input-output relationship. You, the human, provide an input, right? Like a text prompt. The LLM then processes that request and spits out a text output. For example, if you ask it to draft an email requesting a coffee chat, your prompt is the input, and the output is this fully written email that, let's be honest, is probably way more polite than you'd ever be in real life. It's an incredibly powerful party trick, but it really remains a simple, isolated transaction. But here is where we hit a massive wall. What if your prompt was, "When is my next coffee chat?" Even without running the prompt, we already know the LLM is going to fail. Why? Well, because it lacks access to your proprietary personal data, like your daily calendar. And this perfectly highlights two absolutely crucial traits of level 1 LLMs. They have incredibly limited knowledge of your private info, and they're inherently passive. They literally just sit there, frozen in time, waiting for you to explicitly prompt them into action. So let's move up to level 2 and see how this builds into an AI workflow. The human is still the driver here. To fix that calendar issue we just ran into, we, as the human driver, can give the AI a predefined path. Think of it as control logic. We essentially have to hold the AI's hand. We tell it, step 1, when I ask about a personal event. Step 2, go perform a search query and fetch data from my Google Calendar. And step 3, provide an informed response back to me. With this exact logic firmly in place, if you ask, when is my coffee chat with Elon Husky, the AI successfully goes to your calendar, grabs the specific data, and gives you the right answer. Super useful, for sure. But it's incredibly rigid. It does exactly what we say, and nothing more. Wait, what if your very next natural follow-up question is, what's the weather going to be like that day? Boom, we hit another failure point. The AI completely falls flat here because the predefined path we painstakingly built only told it to check the calendar. It has no idea it should go check a weather service. A fundamental trait of an AI workflow is that it can only follow the exact predefined paths meticulously set up by a human. It cannot pivot. It cannot think outside that box. And, this brilliantly illustrates a term you have probably heard thrown around constantly. RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. I know, it sounds incredibly intimidating, but let's disarm it right now. RAG is simply a process that helps AI models look things up before they answer you, whether that's securely accessing your calendar or checking a live weather service. Essentially, RAG is just a specific type of AI workflow. That's it, nothing more. Next time a company tries to sell you on their highly complex RAG architecture, just remember, they are basically talking about an AI that's been given permission to use a search bar. Let's look at a slightly more complex, real-world example using an automation platform like Make.com. Imagine you want to automate your morning routine to stay updated on industry news. A human sets up these exact steps. First, compile the latest news links in Google Sheets. Second, use Perplexity to deeply summarize those articles. Third, use Claude to draft a professional LinkedIn post based on the summaries. And fourth, run this entire process seamlessly every single day at 8 a.m. Now, even with multiple intelligent tools and scheduled runs, this remains strictly an AI workflow. The human is still the one setting the precise logic from top to bottom. There is zero AI agent involvement happening here. The real limitation of the workflow becomes blatantly obvious when we talk about iteration. Say that drafted LinkedIn post from step 3 isn't quite funny enough. What happens? The workflow abruptly stops. The human has to drop what they're doing, jump in, guess at a better prompt for Claude to be funnier, and literally turn the crank all over again. This frustrating trial and error loop is entirely dependent on manual human intervention, while the AI is just hanging out, waiting passively in the background. Which brings us to the crucial turning point. Level 3, AI agents. Here, the AI is the driver. The one massive change that turns a standard workflow into a true agent is replacing the human decision maker with the LLM itself. To do this, we use what's called the REACT framework. And boom, another piece of jargon busted. REACT simply means the AI agent must reason and then act. It has to actually think about the most efficient approach to a goal and then use tools to execute that approach. It maps out a strategy before making a single move. So instead of a human dictating that the AI must use Google Sheets, the agent dynamically reasons through the problem and decides entirely on its own that Sheets is the best tool for compiling those links. Because it can reason and act, an AI agent gains an incredible superpower: autonomous iteration. Remember how you had to manually rewrite that prompt when the LinkedIn post wasn't funny? Yeah, an AI agent handles that entirely autonomously. It drafts version 1. Then it actively critiques its own output against established LinkedIn best practices. It realizes on its own, hey, this isn't funny enough. So it rewrites the text and repeats this critical loop until all criteria are successfully met before finally handing over the finished product. No human sighing required. It is a complete game changer. To see this fully in the wild, check out AI pioneer Andrew Ng's Vision Agent demo. If you ask the agent to find a skier in hours of raw video footage, it independently reasons what a skier actually looks like. You know, a person on skis, moving fast, surrounded by snow. Then it acts by independently scanning the footage, indexing the relevant clips, and returning the exact right moment back to you. I mean, think about the sheer number of hours a human video editor spends just scrubbing through raw footage to find B-roll. The agent didn't just automate a single task. It figured out the optimal workflow for that complex task entirely on its own. Okay, let's wrap up this explainer by putting all these pieces together into the blueprint. When we put these stages side by side, the leap becomes crystal clear. At level 1, we have a basic input/output system that is totally passive. At level 2, we upgrade to workflows, giving the AI access to external tools, but the logic heavily relies on predefined paths with a human decision maker rigidly holding the wheel. And finally, at level 3, we reach agents. We still use powerful tools, but the logic becomes autonomous iteration, driven entirely by an independent AI decision maker. We transition completely from a passive chatbot to a proactive, autonomous worker. And that brings us to our final question for you. Now that you intimately understand the mechanics behind this tech, without all the confusing jargon, what type of AI agent would you build? Seriously, think about the manual, repetitive, strategic decisions you have to make every single day. Which of those could you happily hand over to an AI driver? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Now, take this blueprint and go build something amazing.